Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by 10th Man, Righteous Force, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Good morning. Hey, Discord.
Not a single hello from Discord. Entirely full panel. Over full.
Hello,
one more
good
person
morning.
than it can actually have for some reason.
Good.
No? Hello, Discord?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Oh, finally. Good to have you. Any signs of a physical geometric Earth curve obstruction edge, formerly known as the horizon in their geometric Earth curve model?
Yep. They're scrambling the black swan.
Good morning.
Good morning. Any signs of any Earth curvature of any description?
Not from Crestline.
Good morning.
Axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, because none of the Earth-based variety, Nathan. We would feel it, wouldn't we?
Yeah. We talked about this in the pre-show because you had a chat with a few randoms, and they all appreciate that there's no intimation other than the stars moving that we're moving.
Oh, yeah. Let me bring that up just a little bit. So I said at one point, they're telling us we're moving at about 850 miles per hour at this latitude that we're in. Look outside. Are we moving? Do you feel movement? Does your senses in your body say something underneath you is turning? They all look at me and say no. And I go, then why do you reify it into existence? Why do you accept it? Why don't you challenge it? And that was the beginning. It was great.
Shout out to Troy Clark Theories. Thank you very much for the super chat. Also, yesterday there was a couple of people who super chatted and I forgot to shout them out because I was too involved in a conversation with Brenda. I'm really sorry if you shout. I think Flatball was one of them, and I've forgotten who the other one is, but I'm really sorry.
Can I answer Virus in chat? He says, are your senses made for that? And he puts no. Hey, Virus, move to California. When there's an earthquake, my senses tell me.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No scientific evidence of a word they don't even know how to describe, which is not a force.
Do any of you in the Discord server that enter into debates on any of the platforms ever come across the assertion of science anymore? For the globe.
Hey, Arwin.
Hey, Alwyn. Shout out to Good Servant for the super chat. Thank you very much for your support. Anybody in Discord? Any recent assertions of science from the globe side at all?
Not that I'm aware of.
Fair enough. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Nope. Still waiting for Dr. Becky to respond to several messages.
I have a question about that.
Scientific hypotheses from the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics? Go ahead.
Can it be considered a law if you have to make assumptions beforehand?
Which law are you referring to?
That Kepler's third law thing.
Kepler's third law just gives you a scalar, though, doesn't it? You've got to make an assumption in there, which is to assume that Venus would be the same size as the presumed Earth radius. So no, when you only it depends what you're doing. If you're trying to extract out the size of the sun, then no, because you've got to make assumptions. Does that answer your question?
I think so.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun beyond the extrapolations of Venus being the same size as Earth and the utilization of Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion? Beyond those assumptions, any evidence of the distance to the sun?
It's over there.
Over
I had
there.
a whole discussion about that again. Or was it on Flatter Discord? Where was it? Was that on this show?
It was on this show yesterday.
Right.
Shout out to Awaken a Narrative. Time to ignore ball earthers and their water ball. Yeah, it's interesting you should say ignore it. Earlier on we were talking about, I can't remember what, the NASA shirts that people pick up on a lot more since coming to this subject. Well, for me it wasn't necessarily NASA shirts, it was globe indoctrination. When you say ignore the water ball, Awaken Narrative, all I could do for the first 6 months was spot heliocentric programming everywhere. Didn't seem to matter where I looked. On the side of a phone box, heliocentric programming. Side of a billboard, side of a bus. Didn't matter what it was. People's signs for their businesses, they all had globes in them. I couldn't help seeing them everywhere I looked. Globe, 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 globe.
Oh, yeah. Even street paintings here.
Yeah. It's part of the culture. So it doesn't matter if you're part of the brainwashing, you're going to perpetuate out this meme of a globe Earth, whether you want to or not, because you think it's where you live. So it's just part of your prevalent thoughts when you're doing anything, ever. It reminds me of Mark Sargent's first gambit into this was to explain that he was producing a network for somebody, and it was about the time that the first Apple iPhone came out, and it had a picture of the blue marble on it. So he wanted to put something similar onto his network that he was building for someone else, and so he did his cursory search and found that there wasn't any. This is pre-2017 blue marble, so there was just the blue marble. That was it. Various different, rotations of the same exact picture, but ultimately one image. And like me, I did the same thing about the same time. When I got a computer of my own, I wanted slightly more elaborate. I wanted weather patterns from a satellite with the whole of the Earth in it, and I thought real-time satellite weather data, yeah, why not? Boy, was I wrong when I did the same search as Mark Sargent. So, other than the cartoonified logos and business names and advertising billboards and things of those nature that include globes or movies, the intros thereof, or Superman flying around a globe, or one of the Avengers coming in from a high altitude that shows the globe, whatever. All of that is just cartoonified versions of something that you've got as a reification in your mind. It's just reaffirmed by all the cartoons. Whereas back in the day, you look to try and find something that's even remotely resembling something that's an Earth picture from space, and they don't exist. Obviously, they've got their line of justifications therein, and that's what got debated about until we pointed out the next housekeeping question. How can you have gas pressure without a container? Is there any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container?
No.
How do you test that? You can't.
It's a necessary antecedent. You've got to have a container for the gas to press upon, or it wouldn't have pressure. So therefore their assertion that the sky is a vacuum, where they're taking these pictures of Earth from space, is completely bunk. Any picture that's come from the sky vacuum, most likely from NASA, is immediately debunked by the notion that you can't have gas pressure without a container, and their sphere Earth is in a vacuum, with gas not dispersing into it. Ergo, any pictures of space are fake. Because you can't have gas pressure without a container, it's a necessary antecedent. Second law of thermodynamics, entropy. The gas, which is moving at high speed in all directions, will want to fill the available volume that's available to it. The fact that it isn't just debunks the notion that we have a sky vacuum. Outer space is fake. about self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth. Any evidence of that?
No, another reified narrative.
Any evidence of Earth radius, the R value?
Are you kidding?
Black Swan.
2020.
That's it. That concludes housekeeping.
Ah, so nice. The Globers don't show up anymore to argue. They've died.
I don't know. We might have some space pope. You a Glober? Share your pain.
At least make a cardinal point.
Boom, boom. Dad jokes. Keep them coming. So yeah, back to Babs, as we were discussing him in the pre-show in his presentation. For perspective, it is quite an old, well-established, understood argument now. You know, arguing about angular resolution changes. Remember when it was first cemented in my mind, going back and listening to Arwin discussing it, because at the time I didn't get it. Now I'd Dunning-Kruger didn't know I didn't get it. I just thought Arwin was talking nonsense, and kind of berated him at the time for it. You go back and listen to his descriptions of it's using different terminology because he doesn't know what to term it with at the time. You know, the first vanishing point, the second vanishing point. You know, he's just describing angular resolution changes, just in slightly different vernacular. But he was spot on the whole time. He was one of the first, if not the first, to get it on this panel.
Shout out to Arwin.
With his eyeball.
Oh, I got a compliment. I just missed it.
We're just talking about your eyeball on a stick, and you were one of the first to actually get perspective. You know, excluding people who joined the debate and may well have got it before they were part of this crowd. But you know, as far as the panel's concerned, you were the first on the panel to really appreciate what was going on in terms of hijacking perspective and calling it Earth curve.
Yes, I did. I guess in a way, although I was just really fascinated to figure out, like, what is this diffraction, really? The apparent obstruction, like, how can that work? And then I just said, okay, I'm going to approach this just from, instead of looking out of my eyes and then sizing things up as you naturally do, I'm just going to look at a distance to the entire picture and then try to see the underlying shape of what I'm looking at. And then keep comparing that with photographs and all that, and just see, like, what does the shape look like of what you're looking at out there to the observer? Just what is the general outcome of that? And that is how I devised the optical slant concept. Figured out that, yeah, it's just not going in a perfect straight line into the distance. No, there's something else there. It narrows down. And that's how it came to be.
Right. Fast forward 2 years and you end up with Life is Short doing 6-hour presentation on every single conceivable aspect of angular size, resolution changes, diffraction, refraction, perspective in general. And it's a very, very complex subject. So you can, you know, another big shout out to Life is Short. His presentation cemented all of these ideas to the point where I can now debate about them quite concisely. Right. And it's because of his hard work. You know, he took Red Pill Philosophy's work and just, along with a lot of others, and really looked into it and gave a concise, detailed breakdown of what was actually occurring in those images. Now, when Red Pill presented those images, Red Pill Philosophy, big shout out to you, it's just like, look how flat it is. You know, there's nothing obscuring anything here. And that was the first time he was like, well, no, this is the point that you can actually qualify the angular resolution limit. This is, you know, according to him, it was the first time. I don't think there's been any others. There may have been that clearer an image since then, but it's the only one I can think of where he was explaining, no, this is where you actually see when stuff gets too small to see, because you have to remove all of the other refractive effects from the atmosphere to end up with basically crystal clarity, to then only see what you can quantify with the Rayleigh criterion and the angular criteria, I should say, and the angular resolution limit. So it's only on perfect days, because the rest of the time you're dealing with refraction. Now, they parroted that off and give us a fairly concise, understood version of what they call atmospheric refraction, and then just do the bait and switch. Hijack it, call it terrestrial refraction, geometric based. utilising the R value that's been debunked by the black swan now.
Yep. While in reality, refraction, what it really does is just blur up things until eventually you'll just see a wall of blurred up gray, and you won't be able to identify anything anymore beyond that point, even if it had a sufficient size in order for you to see it angular wise.
Right, exactly. Most of the time we're dealing with the effects of things in the atmosphere, and Anthony used to break it down quite concisely by saying, well, if you spoke to somebody out at the beach and started talking about how far you'd see, your conversation would naturally steer towards how clear the day was. Not how crap the day is and how much temperature inversion you've got in the different layers between you and the target, and how much things are being hologrammatically projected up from behind the reified Earth curve edge that is the geometric horizon. Those aren't the way you'd have the conversation. You just say, yeah, if it's a nice clear day, we'll see really far. Oh, I got the eye on the stick. Here we go.
Yeah, the updated version. Oh.
So yeah, this is like the original version of this was far more, I say far more crude. This is pretty crude. No offense.
Oh, it is.
But the original version was even more crude and essentially has remained unchanged. And all you're doing is presenting what is essentially the reverse of what you'd see, the reverse of the angles if you were drawing it to the target, but you're drawing it like a perspective view in side profile. So the presentation yesterday from Babs has got the perspective view cascading to the centre of frame. You've got it cascading from right to left. But all you're doing is describing perspective, right? In the best manner you can, utilising their tool of side-on orthographic Muppet vision.
Right. It is a descriptive view. This is not any. This has no geometry. There's nothing literal or to scale about it. It's a descriptive way to try to describe as to what will happen typically when you look, basically. So there's nothing literal about this.
Well, you can see the side of your own head for a start. It's Muppet vision, so whenever you look at anything ever, audience, you never, ever, ever see the side of your own head. That's not possible, but that's how they'll present it. So they remove all aspects of perspective from the view you see inside profile. Everything that you're looking at is equidistant from your position, side onto your own head. But the view you see is what's coming into that eyeball, as opposed to you seeing the eyeball. It's just silly. It's just their way of removing perspective. Shout out to Just Jack Flat Earth. Shout out to my annoying R-song Horizon. I never considered curvature in miles, road design, nor acreage of drainage. Oh, it scrolled away. Hold on. Drainage calcs in AutoCAD 2004 to 2020. Is that so? Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Just Jack Flat Earth, and shout out to your Our Horizon song. So excellent. So there's your version of it. Here's my version of it, Arwin. So this is what I call a sort of 3D version of Muppet Vision. So it gives you an idea of what they're trying to present, but each of these mountains isn't being presented with a perspective view that you get in the frame of the camera. They're all the same size. So even though obviously this one is right next to you, next to the frame of the camera, and this one could be, based on this being a scale of an Earth, this would be tiny, 1,000 miles away or something stupid. But of course in this representation side on, they're all the same size. Well, in feet and inches they are all the same size. That's why they do it, to keep all of this uniform, to keep a mountain that's 1,000 miles away 1,000 foot, like the one right next to you, so it doesn't change in angular size.
So you only see the tippy tops of it, but then they basically suggest to you that the entire mountain is still pretty large underneath that, hidden behind the curve.
Exactly. No perspective, no angular size limitations. Nothing will ever disappear at any distance ever. The only thing, or the only reason things ever disappear ever, is because an Earth curve has got in the way. So if this mountain here, at thousands of miles away to scale, according to them, is disappeared, well, it's only one reason. It's because the Earth curve's got in the way. Sod all to do with the fact that it's miles too small to see. Hey, Sleeping Warrior.
Hey.
You
Am I
tend
coming
to
through?
join.
Okay, I've got a new wire, and every time I unplug a wire, it tends to reset everything.
Bummer. You tend to join these days when you've got a purpose. Did you want to present something?
No. I just wanted to just let you know what ear bashing I had to endure yesterday. I was busy doing stuff, cleaning out the garage and just tidying up, getting rid of stuff and putting some shelves up and the usual man jobs that men like doing. And you'd finished, and I was listening to one of Jose's chats, and I think it was his birthday one. And I've got to say, there's a massive divide now because both sides can't have a conversation. The ballers are in Jose's chat telling everybody that Flat Earth's got no evidence, that they haven't got any good arguments, that they reject everything. And we're obviously in here saying, like, listen, guys, you haven't got any evidence. You think you have. You tell everybody you have, but you can't prove that the Earth turns. You can't prove rotation. You can't prove curvature. You can't prove gas pressure, etc. But they've got their own arguments of things that they can prove or at least model out, and they're happy with them. Now, there's like a no man's land that used to be pretty close, but now that no man's land is huge, it's like fields apart. So we've got our trench over here. There's like a football field in between the trench that they've got over there. And they're both beyond artillery fire. So that no one's firing any blows. And basically, there's no conversation. There's just that no man's land.
Hold on. Nobody's firing any blows? No. No, we just set off an A-bomb in this little analogy. An atomic bomb went off. It had a little black swan painted on the side of it, Anthony. Yeah, there's plenty of artillery shells going out. We're sitting back now on the top of the no man's land, sitting on the edge of the bunker, literally exposed to all because we've got no concerns whatsoever. Just with our hands behind our heads, looking out over no man's land, watching total carnage. That's what we're doing.
But there's a problem, though. They are being told, Jose's audience are being told that the black swan is dead. Now, we all know that they can't explain it because they haven't got any physics for it. The problem is they're telling their audience that the black swan is dead, even though it actually isn't.
Why is that a problem?
So you know how like gravity's not a force?
Yeah, the American forces are surrounding Baghdad.
Yeah, it's like comical Ali.
Snake. They cut
comical Ali, yeah, that's right. So the problem is, like how gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force. What they're actually doing now is engaging the black swan. The black swan is not dead, but you can think of it as dead. That's what they're actually doing. So we need a way of combating this. So they're obviously not going to come in to talk, and they're going to go over in their little echo chamber. That's not an echo chamber because they don't have a public link. It actually is an echo chamber, but we're not having any conversation. So we need to find a way to have some conversation because all the ballers want to support Jose, all the flat earthers want to support you. So what do we do to try and sort this out? Nobody wants to have the conversation anymore. They all want to go and sit there and hold each other's willies. And I'm like, come on, guys, where's all the evidence? It's shocking. I don't know what to do, Nathan.
There's no conversation to have. It's
I was
over.
going to say, why are you so concerned about this? They're telling their audience, according to you, the black swan's dead. Okay, so allow them to demand their audience sticks their head in the sand. Because what will that mean? Well, let's pretend this continues for another 5 months. And then they've thoroughly convinced all of their side of the argument that the black swan's dead. And then one of them will wander over here, thinking, well, look how calm it is. There's just no explosions on this no man's land. There's nothing to be fearful of. They come over to us and we're all sitting on the edge of the trenches, smoking and playing cards. And one of the enemy comes over and goes, "You all right?" We go, "Yeah, we're fine. No bother, mate. How are you?" He goes, "Yeah, Earth's a sphere, you bunch of idiot retards." And we go, no, the black swan decimated the other side of the battlefield. Can't you see all the holes? And they go, no, those aren't holes. Those are gophers that have done those holes. What are you talking about? We were told by our masters that they were just gopher holes. Place hasn't been obliterated. We've just got a bit of an infestation. What are you talking about? Black swan's dead. And then we take their head off immediately. And they literally stood there over on our side of the battlefield with no head. And they can't quite believe what's happened.
So I guess the only way we can do this, because the reason why, to answer your question, you said, I don't know why you're so bothered. And then you went on, and it was obviously rhetorical, but I'm going to address it because I just want the position to be understood. It bothers me when children in schools are taught gravity is a force as per Newtonian because the maths is simpler, it's a stepping stone onto Einstein, and whatever nonsense that you want to attribute to the reasons for why they're not being told Einsteinian, the current position in science. But at the end of the day, all the kids that leave high school, that leave college, that leave university, that didn't study physics, that did something else, all of those like academics all still think gravity is a force, even though it actually isn't. Now, even if George Musa says that you can think of it as a force, it still doesn't make anything do something. So 99% of the educated public think gravity is a force, which is the reason why we've got all these mongs in Jose's chat. But if them mongs are also being told that the black swan's dead, on top of gravity is still a force, then it bugs me because it's not actually, the message isn't getting through. So how do we get the message through that not only is the black swan still alive, kicking, swimming around, doing his thing, but how do we get that message across? I guess the only way we can do is educate our own people and say, look, guys, go over there and slice their heads off on our behalf.
Yeah. Why do you want to be a flat earth evangelist? Why do you want to go over and slice their heads off? If they're not giving you any trouble, well, just leave them alone. Let them tell themselves it's dead. That's fine by me. That's not a problem at all.
But it bugs me when the likes of, like, I see Sean Hawkins in chat. He thinks that we've got to prove that the Earth's flat to be able to debunk Ball Earth. He doesn't understand that he who makes the assertion has the burden of proof. He tells everybody it's the opposite. Now, everybody knows that that's not true, but nobody on his side corrects him, and he still pushes it. Sean Hawkins thinks that we've got to prove the Earth's flat to disprove that it's a ball. No.
Why do you think that they don't do that anymore? Maybe it's because it's no use to try to make him stop doing that?
Sean Hawkins had come in here today and said that we've got to prove that the Earth's flat to disprove that it's a ball. That he would literally do that.
Okay, I was going to give you an analogy. So is it Scientology where they think that there's Xenu and, there's Archons and all that kind of crap? Is that Scientology?
I have no idea, Nathan.
I don't know either.
Yes, it is.
It's just I only need rough yes. It doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. So you've got Scientologists and they believe all of this stuff about Xenu and all that kind of stuff. And you give them a thoroughly concise debunking. And you call it the Black Swan. Nothing to do with our Black Swan. It's just the same parcelled up argument, but for their religion of Xenu. And you demolish it. You take it to pieces. And you present it to them. And they go, "You're wrong. Xenu's still real." What does that tell you? Does that tell you that your argument's not good enough? Or does it tell you that you're dealing with fundamentalist religious zealots who, in the face of anything that contradicts their religious viewpoint, will stick their head in the sand and tell them that it's not an issue? Oh, it's not an issue. It's not a problem. Your concise debunking of my assertion that we have a physical sphere edge horizon based on an R value, well, they're not going to ever accept that. That's why I'm not interested in converting. I don't care. All right, you still want to believe it's a sphere in the face of us demonstrating just how untenable that religious belief is. All right, okay. Well, you keep your religion. You're an idiot, but keep it. That's fine by me.
I know, but they're still telling kids in school, aren't they? That's the problem.
No.
Anthony.
Rumpus and Jose and Sean Hawkins aren't telling kids anything. They're telling their circle jerk crowd over there what they want to hear, which is that the Black Swan's dead. Well, no, it isn't. Now, am I concerned with telling people that it's still alive? No.
I know, but there are people like the Rumpus, and I'm sure he's a teacher, and I'm sure he does tell children that gravity is a force, even though it's not a force,
you don't know
because
that.
It's the convenient lie.
You don't know that.
I don't know that, you're right.
Anthony,
Yeah.
don't worry about the Rumpus. He's in chat saying there is a name for people who think everyone else is wrong. Didn't he say many times that he's 99.99% right? And
Yeah, it's just same old projection. That's all they do is project onto us their own ineptitudes and failings.
Oh God, never gets old.
This is where I feel obligated to remind the chat that Rumpus claims that he's 100% right 100% of the time, yet he still tells people that with a theodolite you can point it to the horizon, you can roughly calculate the radius and the circumference of Earth with a little bit of trig, but he's obviously measuring to the apparent horizon, isn't he? He's not measuring to the geometric horizon.
Just horizon.
But he still tells everyone he's 100% right.
I've got to correct you. This is going to bug the shit out of me if we start doing that on our side, right? The horizon is the apparent position where the sky meets the ground. So I'll just rephrase that. A horizon is the point where the sky appears to meet the ground. That is what a horizon is. Now, if I say the apparent horizon is the apparent position where the sky meets the ground, well, that's got an extra apparent that's totally unrequired. It's redundant. All horizons, by definition, are apparent. It's never going to be the case that the sky actually meets the ground. The sky never meets the ground. It just appears to meet the ground. So all horizons, including the geometric horizon, are apparent by definition. So introduction of this apparent position where the sky meets the ground, or apparent position where the sky appears to meet the ground, is redundant. It's not needed. The only reason it's being used by our opponents is to give them a second horizon, a non-geometric horizon, a non-physical horizon, because a geometric physical obstruction horizon can still be apparent. It's apparent based on height. The higher you go, the further you see over the physical obstruction, and that is what their model is based upon. A physical geometric Earth curve edge called the horizon, marked with an X in their model. Well, that is their fundy belief, which they don't have anymore when they juxtapose it with this second, redundant term, apparent horizon. We only have one horizon. Their horizon in their model was, past tense, black swan, geometric. It was physical. It was obscuring things. Not anymore. Now it's non-physical, non-geometric, according to them, with this redundant word, apparent. No, we only have one horizon. We haven't got a geometric and an apparent horizon. Their model's geometric. Or it was until we debunked it. So apparent's redundant. Just want to square that away with our own side as you're on our side, Anthony.
Yeah, and they won't come on live, but chat is alive. Sean Hawkins says that we ignore refraction. We go to your subject matter expert that says refraction is something that happens from behind the horizon. You don't even listen to your own subject matter expert. You think the horizon is actually being refracted. See how they project? It's nonsense.
Oh, well, they're just convincing themselves. Obviously, they've got to square the circle in their own mind. I mean, if you present them the fact that the geometric horizon doesn't exist, it's just an arbitrary position that you take geometric consideration when thinking about how you'll reify it into physicality, you can point that out till you blue in the face. The disclaimers that their own priests give them make it plain. Taking geometric consideration isn't having a physical geometric horizon. It's you considering it to be physical when it's not. And the priests know it. But you want to square the circle with us. Fine. We can read.
Yep. Jedi mind trick.
Yeah. Hand wave whenever it's a problem. Well, obviously we take our geometric consideration and consider it to be physical. In this instance, however, it's not physical. Well, your model's physical, and that's your claim, that we're standing on a physical sphere, and it's got these physical parameters, but apparently now it doesn't have those physical parameters. Well, that's the end of your argument. Black Swan debunks the idea that we have a radius, giving them a physical geometric horizon. They're all relinquishing it, telling us how non-physical it is, with a redundant term apparent.
Their model doesn't match reality, and they have to face that.
Yeah, or square their own circle, or stick their head in the sand and say Black Swan's dead to each other.
How do you get shape without geometry?
How'd you draw a tangent without any straight lines? Completely untenable model. But there we go. You can just tell yourselves that it's all cool. But yeah, there's no explosions here, Anthony, so you've got itchy feet. Back in the day when this happened, there'd be infighting. We'd start scrapping amongst ourselves. Useful though that was when it was you and Arwen. Bloody hell, we made huge strides with gravity, as much as I hated it at the time. But that was another lull.
I tell you what was interesting about the fight with Arwen. We were both actually arguing the same point, although we were using different terminology to get to the conclusion. We realised eventually that we were arguing the same point as each other, just with different words.
No, you weren't. Arwen was arguing for there being a force there. And, you know, at one point, he's going to hate me now because he spent about 6 months slowly fading out that view rather than relinquishing it quickly, so no one noticed. Very smart of him. Now I'm highlighting it, so he's probably going to shut me up any second.
Shut up, Nathan.
But over a long period, he relinquished the adverse position that you eventually agreed upon. But if it wasn't for him taking that contrary standpoint, you wouldn't have made any progress. So still kudos to Arwin.
And hey, there's still a force there. It's just not gravity. It's
Oh, shut up! Get out!
it's relative density disequilibrium.
It's not a
Only a
force.
force there. It's disequilibrium.
The disequilibrium has taken a massive amount of energy to create in the first instance. If it's a tree, it's had to grow. It's had to convert sunlight into energy and make it into a tree and branch out. And lots of things have had to happen to have disequilibrium, though, right?
Well,
There's no force there.
if
the
you
only
want
force
to
was
see
the
it
process
like that,
of-
you can model it out like that. But I'm not really concerned with as to how it came to that. I'm just looking at, is it at equilibrium? No. Then there's a force that comes into play.
Yeah, that's where he's reverted back to type. That's where they start. Start at the point where it's in disequilibrium. Well, fuck that. No, I'm not going to do that. Don't revert to type, Arwin.
What do you mean?
I mean, that was the position that you took originally. That's how the argument started.
No, I claimed that there was a force disequilibrium present at all time that was supposedly the cause of that. That is what the gravity conception aberration is.
Oh, fine.
No, I just saying, look, if something is in disequilibrium, a force will manifest. Doesn't matter how it came there. It just does. That's where the force comes in.
No, I understand. Yeah, there's got to be a mechanism to get it to return to equilibrium, and yeah, that I can agree with. So I see. The difference is you're saying an ever-present disequilibrium force was what you were arguing originally, and then you relinquished that.
Right.
I see.
I'm not saying it is
I
there all
stand
the
corrected.
time. There's no force there all the time. It just comes into being when
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 something's
there's
forced into
disequilibrium.
disequilibrium. Yeah. I stand corrected, Darwin. Fine. I apologise.
So, as I was saying correctly, me and Arwin realised we were arguing the same thing eventually.
Oh,
It
fuck
just
off.
took
Get
a
out,
fight.
Anthony. I hate you.
No, we weren't.
Just
Shut
had a
up.
fight to get there.
Oh, shut up.
Which, to be honest, if more of us had constructive fights, it would be more interesting because, well, we should be able to call each other on either side of misunderstanding, because sometimes you might make a mistake on calling somebody, realise that actually you were in the wrong, and you learn something by it. But it's too much pride and ego spoils things.
Well, we're sparring. That's my point. That exercise is a sparring exercise between you and Arwin. Now, It resulted in more understanding, better knowledge, better appreciation from the audience, all those positive things. It was annoying at the time, but it still resulted in a lot of positivity. But that's what you can do when you're fully kitted up, fully well-trained, and you haven't got a battle to have because you've released an A-bomb on your opponent and they're in disarray, claiming that the holes that they're left with in their barracks are actually mole holes. Nothing to see here. Black Swan was dead. No, all these holes are just from the dead Black Swans.
It's interesting, Nathan, how in chat they're all avoiding the Black Swan. They're back to Polaris and stars now.
Of
Yeah,
course,
of course.
Rumpus is going to avoid it. He thinks he's 100% right 100% of the time, but the problem with Rumpus is he hasn't got an explanation in physics for this, because he keeps claiming looming, but he hasn't got looming defined to cover it. He just tells people it's defined to cover it, and they believe it. No, looming isn't covering the scenario that we're talking about, Rumpus. You know it, we know it, but just because all your morons believe it still doesn't make it explained. Oh, by the way, is my microphone sounding better?
Yeah, it sounds perfect.
Yeah, it was the wire.
Excellent. I'm glad you fixed that because it was getting worse.
It was getting worse, yeah. Annoyingly, it was Ranty that spotted it weeks ago.
So the very thing that supposedly was blocking the bottom of boats is what happened to that, Rumpus?
What happened to what?
The very thing to them that was blocking the bottom of boats. What happened to that?
Well, they don't have a geometric...
Now it's not there.
It got bent upwards.
Yeah, they don't have a physical geometric Earth curve edge for a horizon anymore. They used to. It used to be claimed to be the X point that they drew a straight line to while simultaneously claiming everything was bent. Now, we didn't spot it back then, but they don't have a geometric horizon anymore. They don't have something to obscure boats in the distance.
Well,
No, that's my hang on. That's my point. We see the orthographic view from them for ages now. They got the X there. Sometimes they put a G there, but it's the same thing. The geometric horizon is marked by the X. Now it's their drawing. They put it there. Why did they put it there? Is it because the radius of the Earth demands that it must be there at the 1 foot observer height? And then now when you ask them where is it, they say, well, you can't ever see it. Well, then how'd you put it there? And what was covering the bottom of boats all this time? The curve of the Earth. Well, if it's not there and it's not covering the bottom of boats anymore, or obstructing is a better word.
you don't get it, 10th man. You just don't get it.
Sure.
Still there. No. It's my turn. It's still there. You just don't see it, but it still does block things. What's so difficult to understand about it?
What's so difficult to understand? It's there but not there. It blocks things but doesn't block things in physicality because it's not actual. It's apparent. What's to not understand?
I'm sure.
I want to thank Arvin for the. Hang on. I want to thank Arvin for the therapy I just received.
Go on then.
No, I was done.
No, just thanking Arvin for the therapy I just received. It's there. It's not there. It's supposed to be blocking. It's not.
But it is there. You just don't see it, except for it blocking things.
But what we really need here is a very long-winded explanation for just how bent all the lines are to the things we're looking at. And then we need them to draw a straight line so that we can laugh at them.
So Rumpus in chat is saying, 10th man, the Earth's curvature obscures the bottom of boats. What are you talking about? Oh dear. What should we do about the Rumpus in chat? Should we just ignore him and laugh?
Yeah, just say, hold on. This is Anthony, this is the answer to your question. Why are they all saying the Black Swan's dead? Well, so that when this circumstance arises and someone like the Rumpus asserts that Earth curve obstruction, based on R value giving you a geometric horizon, is what causes obstruction? No. We've got quotes from you, Rumpus. We do not have a geometric horizon. Quote, Rumpus! So Black Swan dead? Or can I use Rumpus's own words to absolutely annihilate him without him even being here? In fact, I only need 2 words. Black Swan. What's that? Geometric horizon obstruction, Rumpus? Black Swan, mate. You don't have a geometric horizon, moron. Did you forget? Or have you bought your own bullshit over on Jose's channel that the Black Swan's dead? Well, no, my friend, it's not. You don't have a geometric horizon. You've all spent the last 3 months explaining just how non-geometric it is now, haven't you? Black Swan.
Nathan, somebody in chat's asking, will you play that Rumpus clip? We do. We don't.
If I can find it. You have to talk amongst yourselves.
But they do have a geometric horizon. You just don't see it, but it does block things.
No, we don't have a geometric horizon.
Yeah, you do, but you don't see it.
No, we do.
They say
We do.
It never was there to begin with.
Well, you could never see it, but it's still there and it still blocks things. Come on.
Right, there's a lot of people that I was getting complaints, Nathan, that too many people are in the live stream, so that there's like 15 in there at the minute of 12 slots. There are other people that want to join. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up more.
No. What are you doing? No, don't open up more. Kick people who aren't talking. I don't want more people. Just kick people who aren't talking. If they're not talking, kick them out.
Okay, so let's work down the list. Just Mercy, are you going to speak to us today, or do we terminate your contract?
Yeah, I'll speak. What's up?
Hey,
I'm just listening.
What shape's
I'm just listening and
Mercy.
getting information because some of these, what do you call it? Some of these applications that these globers are making, people believe in these things, they don't take into consideration. They're weird.
No one claims the geometric horizon is where the apparent horizon is.
Sorry, we've only got one horizon. We don't have 2 horizons. We don't have an apparent horizon and a geometric horizon. We just have a horizon. It's just not geometric!
Correct.
So we don't have a geometric horizon on a sphere, Rumpus? And, by the way, the geometric horizon is apparent!
Mute.
Yeah, well then, welcome to Flat Earth. Your model of a sphere Earth requires a geometric horizon to obscure things in the distance, for boats to go over, and to bend at altitude. If you are now disclaiming that we do not have a geometric horizon, then we don't have Earth curve geometry.
I told you 2.5 years ago how this worked, and you didn't remember.
You've just made it plain we don't have a geometric horizon. So what geometric position, moron? You don't have one!
We do.
Oh, so now we do. Only 30 seconds ago, ladies and gentlemen, he made it plain we don't have a geometric horizon, and now we do.
No, we don't have a geometric horizon.
The fact that this flip-flopping retard rumpus has gone from it being geometric as a necessity, as per your model, to us not having a geometric horizon, and we never have, to now it being geometric again. If you can't recognise his flip-flopping and orthodox, it's because you're as retarded as him.
So we don't have a geometric horizon, then we do, and now we don't have a geometric horizon, right? When are you running for office of retardia?
It's a function of geometry.
No, it's not, because we don't have a geometric horizon. So the horizon is absolutely not a function of geometry. It's not geometric. We've debunked that with this image called the Black Swan, where we demonstrate that if it was physical and geometric, it would be in an impossible location based on the parameters of your own geometry. So we definitely don't have a geometric horizon.
I didn't say we did. We do.
Oh, so now we do. Only 30 seconds ago, ladies and gentlemen, he made it plain we don't have a geometric horizon, and now we do. We don't. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Do you realize how many times you've destroyed your own argument today?
So what geometric position, moron? You don't have one!
We do.
Oh, so now we do.
Correct, we don't have a geometric horizon.
So what geometric position, moron? You don't have one!
We do.
Oh, so now we do.
Correct, we don't have a geometric horizon.
There you go, whoever wanted it. Now you've had it.
Anthony asked for it. That's lovely. You should play that every day.
Yeah, maybe the Black Swan's dead. Or maybe we've got people like your priest Rumpus flip-flopping between us having a geometric horizon and us not having a geometric horizon and us having a geometric horizon and we don't have a geometric horizon and we do. Or maybe it's dead. Maybe it's not a problem. Just a massive problem for Rumpus when he comes here. But I'm pretty sure he's in the chat right now moaning about getting muted.
Mercy, mutant.
Yeah, I can hear plenty from him when he comes here and denies that you have a geometric horizon absolutely necessitated by your geometric model marked with an X labelled horizon. So you don't have one? Well, then you don't have any geometry. Oh, we do. Yeah, this doesn't sound like a Black Swan being dead argument. This sounds like a Black Swan stamping on your head argument. Fundies, wake up, smell the coffee. Black Swan's not dead. It's the obliteration of your geometric religion. You don't have to like it. You don't have to admit it. But it won't change that it's game over globe. Checkmate from every angle. Your best mind, AB Science, claims to be a scientist, spends a prolonged period detailing just how bent all the lines are to the targets. And then what does he do in Muppet Vision? Draws a straight line. For his geometric horizon that he hasn't got and can't see, and hasn't got straight lines to. Oh yeah, that sounds like a dead argument. No, it sounds like you morons pounding the C4 fire with a hammer. Because you don't realise how screwed you are. You require a geometric horizon, and you don't have one. So you can't draw straight lines, and your answer to this is to say all the lines are bent. Definitely not facilitating straight lines and geometry then. Your argument debunks the notion that you can draw a straight line to a physical obstruction we can't see. Yeah, dead swan, yeah. You keep telling yourself that, Fundies. That'll make the horizon physical again for your next time around argument, when you say the boat's being blocked, and one guy whispers 2 words to you. Black Swan.
Hey, Virus,
And
come on, tell me what you're talking about when you say Black Swan and diffraction all in one sentence, huh?
We do.
Come on, Virus.
Oh, so now we do.
Correct. We don't have a geometric horizon.
Dead? Nah, I don't think so, Fundies. I think this is a big problem. A very big problem. I'd call it an atom bomb-sized problem that none of you are coping with. You're all just sticking your head in the sand and telling us it's dead. Well, isn't that interesting? Not really. We all know you're in denial. We all know you don't get it. We all know it's going to be 18 months of you spamming my name in the chat. Say my name, bitches. The Black Swans killed your geometry. You don't have to like it.
Hey, Nathan, can I ask those 5 questions? I know Rumpus is too chicken to come on and answer it live. He might at least text it and I could have it for record.
Sure.
Okay. Rumpus, geometric horizon. Question 1. Is it an actual location? Question mark. 1.23 miles at 1 foot observer height measurable based on the radius. Question 2. Is it arbitrary? One to which any value can be assigned at will? Or is it geometric? Is it based on personal preference? Question mark. Third question, Rumpus. Radius of the Earth. Either it's 3,959 or Andrew Thomas Young says 3,963. 1 foot observer height, he puts at 1.23. And the 7/6R, he puts at 1.32. Are these real measurements or assumptions? Question mark. Are these assumptions or real? Question 4. Are there any fixed values that apply to the real world, Rumpus? And last question. Are real accurate observations possible at sea, SEA, with a sextant?
Oh,
Yeah,
hello. I
post
seem
it
to be,
since you're
I seem
afraid
to
to
be
come on.
unmuted. What was the first question? I'm sorry.
Hold on a second.
I missed.
Rumpus,
I was
hold
so
on.
busy trying to engage. I missed the
Rumpus.
questions.
Oh, wonderful.
Sleeping Warrior, are you
What was the
kicking
first
people
question?
off the server?
Hold on 1 second, Righteous. Go ahead, 10th man. Do you want to ask your first question again?
Yeah, Rumpus, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so first question, geometric horizon. Is it an actual location? Question mark. 1.23 miles from a 1 foot observer height based on the radius of 3,959.
Yes, it's a ring. It's not just a location. It's a series of locations, but effectively, yes.
Is it actual?
Yes, it's an actual position on the Earth, yes.
No, it's
It's
not.
the
You can't.
observer.
No, sorry. Black Swan. Have you not seen this Black Swan argument, Rumpus? So there is no.
Yes, I have, and I fully understand
sorry,
it. And you
are
don't.
you muting me? Are you muting me?
What's that?
I'm asking
No,
a
you're
question.
muting me.
Are you muting me?
No.
Well, shut up then. I was in the middle of a sentence. Do you mind not muting me?
I was in the middle of a sentence. Are you muting me?
I was in the middle of a sentence pointing out that we have a Black Swan image that hasn't got a physical geometric horizon as a location. You're wrong.
I'm right.
Sorry, do you want to show it us in the Black Swan, please?
Well, when we talk about the geometric horizon, it's just a position.
Do you want to
for
show
light
it
travelling
me?
a straight line.
Show it me. Excuse me. I've asked you to show it me. Yeah, I'm going to shut you right up. I've asked him to show me this position he claims is there in the Black Swan. So what I want him to do is show it me. Not babble on and moan about being muted and tell you I'm talking through him. I'm asking you to show it us.
Answering you.
Show it
Be
us.
quiet. I'll tell you where
Not
the
answer.
geometric horizon is. I'll tell you. I'll answer you.
Show us.
I will answer the question.
Not answer,
right,
show.
The geometric horizon.
No. Let's shut him up again. Doesn't like being muted because he wants to take control of the question that's being asked. I've asked him to show us in the Black Swan this physical location that's marked with an X and labelled horizon in his geometric in his model, and I'm asking him to show us it. And all he's doing while I'm asking him, repeating what he's being asked, is babbling on about how he's going to tell us something. He's going to answer something, and he's being asked to show us something, which he cannot show.
Want me to answer?
No, I don't want you to answer.
You won't let me answer.
Hang on.
Let's see if he'll let me repeat the question without talking. Are you muting me, or are you going to let me repeat the question? Muting me, he's muting me, muting me, muting me, muting me, muting me. Rumpus censoring, muting. Rumpus is muting me right now. He won't let me repeat the question because he can't answer it.
You're scared.
You're muting me.
Okay.
Right, the geometric horizon.
Right, no, he's just going to answer a question that he wants to answer. So I've got to shut him up. Let's just tell the audience what's happened. He's just muted me continually because he doesn't want to answer the question he's being asked. So he's talked non-stop through me. I've got no choice but to mute him because he's muting me. So let's get the score correct. Rumpus muting me. That's what's happened. So I'm now going to take control of my own show, as I am entitled to do. I've asked him specifically to show this physical location in the Black Swan image. I don't want to hear an answer. I want to see a picture of the Black Swan, and I want an X marked on it where this physical location is. Show us it.
Nathan, before you let him back on, he already admitted it's
I'm happy to do that.
Location.
Show it then. Show us then.
Okay, I've got a screen grab here. Give me a second. I'll show you whereabouts it is.
Whereabouts? What do you mean whereabouts?
Well,
You fucking retard. Do you think I want a rough estimation of whereabouts it might be? I thought this was accurate geometric mathematics for the sphere we're standing on. You think I want a whereabouts?
Yes, because I can't in the picture work out where a mile from the observer is, you
Oh, you can't work out where a mile from the observer is? It should be a physical demarcation point labelled horizon in your model. It's a physical geometric place. You've just answered, 10th man, yes, it is a physical place, but no, you can't mark it in the picture. So no, it's not a physical place. So when I say Black Swan, you have to mute me and cry foul and talk through me because you can't show us, can you? You can't show us where it is, Rumpus.
Could do if I could given some time, I could calculate.
Given some time? It should be obvious and markable in the picture. In your model, it's labelled as the horizon. It's marked with an X.
It shouldn't be obvious.
Shouldn't be obvious. It's supposed to be a geometric physical location that proves we're on a sphere based on an X marked in your model labelled horizon, and you're saying you can't even see it. You'd need some time to find where it is.
Where the sky meets the sea.
No, that's not the geometric horizon. You've just said you couldn't mark 1 mile out. Where the sky meets the sea isn't your geometric horizon, moron. So that's not the geometric horizon. That would be what you're calling, redundantly, the apparent horizon.
Not where the sky meets the sea. That's the apparent horizon.
Sorry, what's not where the sky meets the sea? The geometric horizon. The description and definition of horizon is where the sky meets the sea. And you're saying that position's not the geometric horizon, so there's a second one that you can't find and can't mark because you don't know where a mile is?
I missed the start of your question, but if you were saying the apparent horizon is where the sky...
Apparent's redundant, you complete moron. Redundant. Are you stupid? Do you not understand English?
The apparent...
Do you not understand English? It's redundant.
What's redundant?
Apparent. When describing a horizon is the apparent position where the sky meets the ground. So to say the apparent position where the sky meets the ground is utterly redundant, you moron.
Definitions of
Are you talking through me? Why are you muting me? Let's mute him. Let's mute him. He's not listening to me. He's talking through me constantly. So he's not listening to a word I said. He said, why is it redundant? I started to explain and he talked through me non-stop, so I've got no choice but to mute him. Because he's muted me again, so he doesn't have to listen to my response. My response being, why am I getting talked through by my own fucking panel? The apparent position where the sky meets the ground is a horizon. Now, the apparent position where the sky meets the ground is redundant. Did you hear me, moron?
Several horizons. There's the astronomical...
No, we haven't. We haven't got several horizons. You're a buffoon. Anybody out there that thinks the black swan's dead? The horizon's a singular position where the sky meets the ground. It is apparent by definition. We don't have several. Are you stupid? There aren't several horizons in this picture on screen. There's one position where the sky appears to meet the ground. One. You're thick.
Yes,
Nathan.
there is only one position where the sky meets the...
So there's not several, you total mong. So, 100% of the time you're correct. You've just asserted there's several horizons. No, there's not. There's only one. The one in your model's geometric. Now, according to you, it's physical. When answering 10th man's question, you said it is a location. You can get to it. It's a mile away in the picture. I just don't know how far a mile away is. Well, it should be demarcated. It's an X in your model labelled horizon.
And that is incorrect. That's the
Oh, the model's incorrect? Yeah, welcome to Flat Earth. Absolutely epic. And with that, I'll say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!